I figured it out.
Oh, good.
Can you see it?
Nope.
It's there. It it
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
We're now live.
Oh yes, we are now live. Okay, I had to remember that I had to hit on YouTube go live.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. All right,
Okay.
so why don't we go ahead and get started with Convocation. Thanks, Robert, Adam, all of our techie crew. So as technology has it, we had a few little glitches this morning with our technology. So for those of you watching live stream, thank you so much for your patience. But it's a great day.
We're now live.
It is a great day because it is Convocation, and we are now kicking off spring of 2021. So allow me to welcome all of you to our spring 21 Convocation, Rising Above, Elevating Student Voices. I do wish to welcome those of you who have been out. I welcome you back. For those of you who have been here, I still welcome you today. So today we have a short program, shorter than our usual program. We'll have some welcomes, some remarks, some introductions, some awards, and I'll share a few remarks. And then we're going to pivot and we are going to focus on our students. So we will have a student panel, and we are really eager to hear from our students. And I hope that after this initial segment at 11 o'clock that you will log on to the next Zoom for an engagement activities where you could interface with your colleagues in small group breakouts to respond to the student panel and think about the future, both short-term and long-term of Cuyamaca College and the impact of the twin pandemic. So we'll prompt you on that a little bit later. But again, welcome to spring Convocation. Go ahead next. And so what we'd like to do is just kind of really just kind of ground ourselves in where we are right now. So the land acknowledgement. So Cuyamaca College recognizes that we sit on the traditional territory of the Kumeyaay. We extend our respect and gratitude to the Kumeyaay people, and we honor their land and legacy. Obviously, we have a beautiful Kumeyaay studies program under Dr. Rodriguez, and we're just really honoring the land and legacy through this land acknowledgement. So thank you. Next up, I do have some special guests that I would like to introduce. And so for our special guests, go ahead and just kind of wave, acknowledge yourself, or you can unmute and say good morning, whatever your pleasure is. So first, from the Chancellor's Cabinet, I have my sister president, the interim president of Grossmont College, Dr. Marcia Gable.
Good morning.
Also with us, we have Mr. Tim Corcoran, Vice Chancellor of Human Resources.
Good morning.
We have Ms. Sahar Abu Shaban, our Interim Vice Chancellor of Business Services.
Morning, Julie. It is good to be here. Thank you.
Very good. And then we have members of the President's Cabinet. We have Mr. Pat Setzer, our Vice President of Instruction. We have Dr. Jessica Robinson, our Vice President of Student Services.
Morning, Cuyamaca.
We have Ms. Nicole Salgado, our Interim Vice President of Administrative Services.
Morning, everyone.
We have Ms. Bree Hayes, Senior Dean of Institutional Effectiveness, Success, and Equity.
Good morning, all.
We have Ms. Christiane Pinanuri, our Director of College and Community Relations.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, and then we have our Senate leaders here, and we'll hear from them in a moment, but Mr. Manuel Mancias Gomez, our Academic Senate President.
Good morning.
Good morning. And then Ms. Natalia Worrell, our Classified Senate President.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And last but not least, we have our ASGCC President, Ms. Christy McHogue.
Hello.
Oh, there she is. Hi, Christy. Nice to see you.
Everyone.
And then a handful of others I'd love to acknowledge. Ms. Sally Cox, our CEO for the Foundation for Grossmont and Cuyamaca Colleges.
Good morning.
Okay, and Dr. Stan Flandy from the Foundation Board of Directors.
Hi, everyone. Have a great year.
Thank you. And then we have Karen Fleck from the East County Schools Federal Credit Union.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for your continued support as well. Wonderful. I think that covers it. So thank you. And I know there's so many other VIPs in the room. And again, welcome. So next up, I would just kind of want, in terms of VIPs, I just want to acknowledge that we do have some leadership transitions in our administrative leadership ranks. I think all of you know that Pat Setzer is retiring. His last day will be February 23rd, and we'll have a chance to roast him. I mean, to have a proper send-off and farewell. No roasting for Pat. And so we'll have an opportunity for that. And so stepping in behind Pat, we have Miss Alicia Munoz, who is our currently Dean at Cuyamaca College. So she will be stepping in on March 1st when Pat departs. We also have two new members of our administrative team, Dr. Carboni, who's our Dean of Athletics, Kinesiology, and Health Education. So we're eager to actually meet him in person and poke him and know that he's a real human being, but he is, and he's with us. And we also have Ms. Kim Dudzik, who is serving as the Interim Dean of Math Science and Engineering. And so welcome to our members of our administrative team. And so I would like to now introduce our wonderful one and only Chancellor, Dr. Lynn Nault, and she will introduce our board and share a few remarks. Dr. Nault.
Thank you, Julie, and welcome Cuyamaca College to the start of a new year and a new semester. It's truly an honor to be here joining all of you today. I'd like to first acknowledge our governing board members who are with us today. Brad Monroe, the president of the governing board, who needs no introduction at Cuyamaca College.
Good morning.
Trustee Elena Adams.
Good morning.
Grossmont College student trustee Benjamin Blevins. And Cuyamaca College student trustee Robert McLean. Vice President of the Governing Board, Linda Cartwright, was planning to be here today, but unfortunately she lost internet connectivity in those bad winds. So she sends her best to all of you this morning and wishes she could be here. And our two other members of the Governing Board, Debbie Justison and Julie Shore, are working today, unfortunately. As you know, they're both teachers, but they too send their best. Please join me in thanking our governing board for their support for our work. As we embark upon a new year, let's not lose sight of the many successes we had last year. It was a tough year for all of us, and we were on a roller coaster ride. And through it all, you supported our students, you supported each other, and you have persisted with tenacity and grace, and I thank you. But we had many successes last year, thanks to all of you. We had thousands of students who completed their classes successfully. We provided millions of dollars in funding and support to our students, including laptops, hotspots, emergency grants, financial aid, and food. We continue to engage with our students and support their needs through virtual chat rooms, virtual help desks, forums, podcasts, and a strong presence online. We found new ways to celebrate student achievement through virtual events, including commencement and online performances. And Cuyamaca College continued to receive recognition for its innovation and academic excellence. Through the incredible disruption, massive uncertainty, and unimaginable heartache last year, we persisted, and I'm very proud of our district. So as the new year begins, I'm confident that our future is bright. The board and I are hopeful, and we look forward to spending the year rebuilding. In the months ahead, we'll be focusing on several key planning goals, including returning to campus in a systematic and safe way, dismantling racism and closing our equity gaps, ensuring an intentional focus on strategic enrollment management to begin to build back our enrollment, protecting the fiscal health of the district, providing stronger support to the campuses from district services through the implementation of our institutional effectiveness plan, which I provide a little more details about in my email on Monday. And finally, reconnecting with our community and each other. We are motivated and committed to rebuild. So stay tuned. You'll be hearing more about these important efforts in the months ahead. But for now, let me say thank you for your tireless support for our students, for your commitment to our work, and for all that you have done to keep this institution thriving. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the president of the governing board, Mr. Brad Monroe.
Thank you, Dr. Nault. It's great to be back here at Cuyamaca College. Between my nearly 40 years of teaching, starting at Southwestern College and then most of the time here at Cuyamaca College, I would say almost all of those years were where I looked forward to getting up in the morning, coming to campus, working with the classified professionals in our department and on campus with colleagues and administrators. To be sure, there were some difficult times with budget problems, enrollment challenges, personnel issues, but nothing that comes close to what all of you have faced for nearly the past year. Nothing. You've had to abandon everything you liked about being on campus, change how and where you worked each day, forego the personal interactions from friends at work that could give you a lift to your spirits when you had a tough day. And some of you may have even lost friends or family to this pandemic, for whom we offer our thoughts and prayers. But hope is on the horizon with vaccines that can turn the tide against the disease. And soon, right here at Cuyamaca College, you'll be able to get your shots. So hope too is knowing that this too shall pass. And when we do return, we'll have changed in ways that we couldn't have imagined, from how we teach to new skills that we had to learn, even to how we conduct our meetings. Hope in knowing that once again, we can come to camps to see our friends and colleagues and welcome students back to our classrooms. And we will once again be able to walk into a grocery store and not worry if there's a shortage of hand sanitizer. So I want you to know how much the rest of the governing board and I recognize the struggles you have had and will face in the coming semester. And know that we want to do everything we can to keep you safe and help all of us come to the day that we can throw open our doors for all to come together again. Thank you and have a great semester. The best of luck.
Thank you, Trustee Monroe. Appreciate those words. You're right. I think we all are just so anxious to get back to campus and be in community physically with one another. All right, next up, Miss Christy McElgay, our president of the Associated Student Government. She just wants to deliver a welcome. Christy.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone here and especially Dr. Barnes for having me. I can't say enough, but wish everyone, all students and faculty, staff, and the board a good spring semester. And I can't say how encouraging, inspiring your words today here at the Convocation, and love to hear more, and pleasure to work with such an amazing community to both Cuyamaca College and of course our sister college, Grossmont College, and looking forward to
All right, thank you, Christy. I think you froze a little bit there. Thanks, Christy. Thank you, and have a wonderful semester. And thank you again for your continued leadership of our associated students. Next up, we have Mr. Manuel Mancias Gomez, who is going to deliver a brief welcome, and then he has wonderful acknowledgements of our faculty members. Manuel. You're on mute, Manuel.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Buenos dias. Sabah al khair. Well, we're here echoing the words of Mr. Brad Monroe. yes, we had a very tough year and there is hope coming for this year. And I hope everybody is ready and with good strength and ready to go. So what I want to do right now, I want to talk about our faculty awards. This is coming from our Academic Senate Faculty Awards Committee. And basically, they've reviewed 129 part-time instructors who were nominated. I am going to list the top 14 who were Heifa Halali, Anaid Stere Lugo, Carlos McRae, Eklas Shea, Gerald Sacco, Sermat Youssef, Hannah Alcazas, Andrea Vega, Cristina Burnett, Ala Cana, Peggy Daly, previous winner, Brittany Williams, Ghassan Zakaria, and Kimberly Wolf. And the winner is Anaid Stere Lugo. She has over 10 years of experience teaching at the community college and high school levels. Apart from her master's, she has completed PhD work in Spanish linguistics at the University of Arizona. She has taught all levels of Spanish for beginners as well as Spanish for heritage speakers courses. Ms. Lugo has experience in creating her own curriculum, experience she's currently using to create an open educational resource, OER, for Spanish 120 and Spanish 121, who will save students about $200 per course. This OER will also benefit not only Cuyamaca students, but students from different community colleges across California. Ms. Lugo is committed to bring her classroom more equitable practices. She completed the 2019-2020 Equity-Minded Teaching and Learning Institute at Cuyamaca. She believes in creating a classroom environment in which the students feel welcome, cared for, valued, and respected. Ms. Lugo believes that all students should have the opportunity to succeed in her class and beyond. From a student, her comment, Anaid is extremely patient, yet makes sure that we move through the material every class and is very consistent with both assignments, classwork and communications. She makes me excited to go to my classes at 9:30 in the morning. I'm honestly amazed at how she has managed to create what feels like an interactive classroom environment through Zoom, using breakout rooms and voluntary and involuntary participation in every class. I congratulate you, Anaid, and I hope to meet you in person someday. Thank you very much. The committee also received 79 full-time instructors that were nominated. We're going to go to the top 17, all very well deserving. Steve Weiner, Scott Heron, Scott Stambach, Christine Sink, Karen Marrujo, Christine McGregor, Ignacio Castañeda Garcia, Josh Franco, Rachel Polakowski, Nanette Weir, Brianna Kuhn, Dan Curtis, Marilyn Rowe Bucky, Cindy Moran, Raquel Jacob Almeida, previous winner, and Fabian Bouton and Marisa Salazar. And the winner is, she calls herself a Chicanahuense because of her Nicaraguan, Chicana, and American background. Born and raised in San Diego, Karen is a fiction writer with bachelor's degrees in English and political science with a minor in Spanish and a master's in creative writing from San Diego State University. Karen has spent the last 10, now 13 years working in college classrooms as a student, tutor, and instructor. She's a former SDICCCA intern and AmeriCorps service member. Her priority as a teacher is focusing on equity, social justice, and strengthening students' personal voices. She also believes it is crucial to share her experiences as a Latina with students as a means of encouraging them to share their unique stories with her. And she is probably one of the few teachers I have ever had, this is from a student, that actually cares about us learning material along with our mental health. Every assignment Professor Maruja gives us allows us to gain a better understanding about certain subjects, like privilege, along with gaining stronger writing skills. She offers some optional assignments and contribute to our semester-long project in which we get to communicate certain experiences and interests.
Karen
along with-
Karen is with us in the room. I don't know if she wanted to acknowledge.
Karen. And this is from another student. Karen is the most caring and thoughtful instructor I have ever had. She devotes all her time and effort towards her students, and it shows. With her class is interesting, which helps me stay engaged and makes fun learning. From the chair of the English department, Tanya Jabur, back when we could be in rooms together, when Karen would hold office hours, there will always be a line out the door. Karen builds authentic relationship with students and makes her courses truly meaningful, not just academically, but also personally. Karen's vision of education is rooted in equity and social justice, and she empowers students to hone and develop their agency in the classroom and in their own worlds. Congratulations on this well-deserved award. Karen Sita.
Hello.
Also a member, senator of the Academic Senate.
Hi. Wow. Okay. This is great. It feels like my students found a way to give me a group hug from far away. So thank you. I mean, it's great to be able to serve the community through a wonderful home like Cuyamaca. And it's a huge honor. I don't know what else to say. There's so much support everywhere. But thank you. Oh my goodness. It's heavier than it looks. So thank you for this award.
Welcome. Okay, so for Academic Senate this semester, we're looking to establish our OER committee. We're halfway through there, and hopefully we're going to get it through all the different committees to get it established. And we have our Josh Franco as our liaison with the state Senate. That's currently working as trying to get OER committee going strong. I would also like to invite you tomorrow for our joint Senate meeting with our colleagues from Grossman. We will provide updates on the work of both presidents' racial equity and social justice task forces. Now, as an advertisement here, Friday program maps. Cuyamaca
I'm gonna go
Pathways,
upstairs to the conference room.
Cuyamaca Pathways is meeting with Instructional Leadership Advisory Team on an interactive workshop focused on program maps for local AA degrees and certificates, including GE courses to support students on their academic and career pathways. This workshop will be hosted as a joint effort between ILAT and the Office of Institutional Effectiveness, Success, and Equity. This is tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and please register. Friday at 1 o'clock. Please register on your Business Resource Center. And tomorrow, the joint Senate meeting, you can also register on your Vision Resource Center. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manuel. And congratulations to our Teaching Excellence Award winners. All right, next up, I'd like to invite Ms. Natalia Worrell, our classified Senate President, to come up, and she will also be presenting an award today. Natalia.
Thank you, Julie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Natalia Worrell, and I am your classified Senate President. It's hard to believe that it's been almost a year since the pandemic overtook our lives. What it has not overtook is our ability to adapt and create innovative ways to support our students. While we know we still have some time before we experience what normal feels like again, we are confident that when we return, we will be better than ever in our capability to serve students. Speaking of supporting students, it is my pleasure to announce this year's winner of the President's Outstanding Leadership and Attendance Award. We are proud to say we had candidates who are doing such great work for our college, and this award can't even begin the acknowledgement of their hard work that all classified employees deserve. I would like to congratulate all our nominees who were recognized by their fellow colleagues. Hayam Abdullahad, Student Services Assistant; Lisa DeBella, Evaluations Advisor; April Holman, Administrative Assistant 4; and Lika Yaldeco, Student Services Specialist and former winner. A few words about this year's winner here at Cuyamaca. Fairly soon after we began working remotely, our college applied and received CARES funding from the federal government. These funds allowed us to award over $1.4 million in emergency aid and grants to students in need of COVID-19 cash assistance. Though the Office of Financial Aid would serve as the department that awarded these grants, much more was needed to manage this huge feat. Immediately, this individual offered a creative system that would allow students to apply for funds easily. Through this process required partnership with admissions and records, financial aid, Cuyamaca Cares, and business services. She took the lead in meetings and maintained our database to allow for reporting and tracking of disbursements each semester after semester. Because of her efforts, thousands of students received emergency funding in a timely manner. Please join me in congratulating Miss April Holman, this year's winner of the President's Award.
I think April's here in the room. April?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the honor. We're all here to serve students, and I'm just really shocked right now, so thank you.
Congratulations, April, it is well deserved. In closing, I would like to remind everyone that Classified Senate is part of our right and participatory governance. This coming May, we will be having elections and hope you will join us in supporting all classified staff. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Natalia, and congratulations once again, April. I could attest to the fact that I know, April, you're normally when I walk out of my office, I see your beautiful smiling face, and you're always working so hard, serving students, serving the college in just beautiful ways. And then, you know, here we are, you know, working remotely, and I just keep hearing your name. April, gosh, she did this, she created this, she's supporting this. And so April, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you honestly to all the classified professionals who are working so hard behind the scenes remotely to support the institution and our students. So thank you, thank you. Wonderful. Okay, we are going to transition. We have, I'm going to spend maybe about 10 minutes maximum. I'm just kind of really kind of framing the student panel before we go to the student panel in 10 minutes, but also just really kind of honing in on a couple of key forces that are obviously impacting all of us. And that's what we call the twin pandemics. Actually, you can stay with the other one, Valerie, at this point. And so, no, normally at this point, we have all the president's cabinet come up and we provide updates about enrollment, budget, support services, our strategic priorities. And while these are critical topics, there's much of that we could share with you, and we're continuing to share with you electronically, and we're going to be working together throughout the semester on these topics. But really, as I mentioned, we're going to be focusing more on the twin pandemics. I'm using Rising Above to kind of symbolize what our college community, both employees and students, have been able to do despite the very difficult circumstances that we find ourselves in. Gosh, our wonderful students, just to really focus on them. I know our employees as well are juggling so much, but to focus on our students, we know that they're juggling so much. We see their children on their laps, their dogs jumping over, they're trying to juggle, work and all of the things that they normally have to juggle, but to another degree at this time. I'm so proud of them. And so, yes, Rising Above is really kind of symbolic of that work and their efforts. And so, go ahead, Valerie. And so obviously, this goes without say. We know that we are all impacted by the twin pandemics, racism, which is not new, and COVID-19, which is new. And we've been impacted in different ways, shapes, and forms. And I'll join Trustee Monroe with acknowledging the fact that I know that many of us have been either inflicted with the virus ourselves, or we have loved ones who have been impacted, or maybe have even experienced loss of life. I think by now we've learned of this, we know of this, and it hurts our hearts. And so my condolences to those of you who have experienced that. And again, we know that our students are also grappling with COVID, and again, we'll hear from them in a moment about their experiences. So with the vaccine within arm's reach, as you've been hearing, we're working behind the scenes right now to establish Cuyamaca as a vaccination site. We do see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we see that we're going to be able to gather physically in the same room soon. But we've had a year, almost a year thus far, living differently, working differently, thinking differently, maybe reprioritizing our lives, right? And our students as well. And so, we've changed in a way, and so too will our return. We keep hearing about the new normal. We know that things will be different, even when we are able to return, but the question is how. And so this force called COVID-19, while the vaccine is right there within reach, we know that we're forever changed and that there are implications for our work at Cuyamaca College. And so this is really kind of a force that will be with us for a long time to come. With regard to racism, regarding systemic racism, while not new, obviously the most recent killings of Black Americans, obviously across the nation, people marching in the street, it really demands our attention and action. This is historic. This is not just one and done, oh, that happened and then we marched in the street and that we're done. What I keep hearing people say, and it just really resonates, this is not just a moment in time. This is a movement. This is not over. We are just beginning, and we will continue with our anti-racist work at Cuyamaca College in support of our diverse student body to change our system, to bring about equitable outcomes, and to elevate our campus climate and our culture such that all of our students and our employees, for that matter, feel valued, are valued, and are validated, their social and cultural realities. So these twin pandemics are shaping our present, and they will shape the future of our college for years and years to come, right? So I really wanted to hone in on this, and our students will talk about their experiences with this as well. So I wanted to talk about just to have you reflect on our ever evolving equity journey at Cuyamaca College. So we at Cuyamaca, we've dedicated ourselves to equity, to mitigating disproportionate impact. As we all know, we signed up years ago to be part of the Achieving the Dream Network. We worked with Achieving the Dream for a couple of years. We did deep dives into our data. We disaggregated our data by ethnicity, by gender, and other areas. And we saw big gaping holes, big equity gaps when we looked at the way students entered and they progressed and completed. We saw these big equity gaps that while we opened the door to a diverse community, we closed the door somewhere along the way, right? Because we saw that we were losing students all the way up through completion. And so while we had this large percentage of diverse students at the beginning, we did not see those same results as they progressed and completed. So that really impacted us, and we really committed ourselves to equity. Many of us read the book, Redefining America's Community Colleges by Davis Jenkins. I always will remember Catherine Nettie carrying that book around as though it was kind of almost at the biblical level. And that was really framed our work with guided pathways and really revisiting the practices and policies that we have that really hindered students' progress. We really embraced Laura Rindon's theory of student validation that allowed us to revisit the way we serve students from a student development perspective, particularly diverse students, and helped us to elevate student validation and engagement as an institutional priority. And that whole piece on validation, again, is validating students' social cultural realities that higher education, Cuyamaca College included, we haven't always done a good job at doing that. And we know that if we do that in the classroom and out of the classroom, students have a greater chance of succeeding. So ultimately, through our work over a number of years, we were able to establish our strategic plan that's been in full force for the last several years. We established what we call our big bets or our strategic priorities. And we like lived and breathed our strategic priorities. As you guys know, I love it when I go in a room. I could go into a room of 300 people or more at Cuyamaca College and say, what are our strategic priorities? And everyone could recite them, not because you're just memorizing them. It's because we're living and breathing our strategic priorities, right? And we're also living and breathing equity. We said we committed to equity being our watermark for our strategic plan. And there are a number of great ways that we have advanced our work with equity, advanced our strategic priorities. Dare I mention our developmental education reform with math, English, and ESL, but there's so many other examples. But we have plenty more work to do, because when we continue to look at our data, we continue to see equity gaps. What I want to share is that it's hard to believe that next year our strategic plan will come to an end. And so we will be embarking upon the development of our new strategic plan. And going back to the twin pandemics, this force called COVID and the way we've kind of reshaped our thinking, kind of reprioritized our lives, will have an impact on that new strategic plan, as will the piece on anti-racism and racial equity. So stay tuned for more with that. So continuing on with our ever-evolving equity journey, I think about even the language that I've used over time, you know, and I can't help but always remind you guys how I broke my hand, but not to focus on myself. But even when I broke my hand at our very first convocation together, the board that I was trying to break said institutional barriers to student success and equity, institutional barriers. So we use this language called, there are these institutional barriers. We take institutional responsibility for success and equity. We have to be college ready versus student ready. So we embrace that concept. And those were kind of like light, happy ways from my point of view to talk about really what it is, and that's systemic racism, right? When we talk about institutional barriers, what are these institutional barriers? We know that higher education was not designed with our diverse student population in mind. It was designed for a traditional white middle class population. And yes, we do have a white middle class students, but we also have a larger population of students with varied social cultural realities. So systemic racism refers to the systems that we have in place that then perpetuate that racial injustice and inequity. And so yes, we committed ourselves to equity. We're taking institutional responsibility, but really elevating that to really call it what it is, and that is systemic racism. Okay, go ahead, Valerie. Valerie, do you want to go ahead and advance the slides? Okay, you can go ahead and go again. And one more, there we go. One more, please. Okay, and so just kind of food for thought without digging in too deeply, but just a question just to pose. So how can we leverage the efforts that are underway at Cuyamaca College to dismantle systemic racism and to bring about those equitable student outcomes? So that is the question. We will continue to have these discussions at Cuyamaca College as we progress into the spring semester, as we progress beyond the spring semester and start to return to campus, and as we develop our next strategic plan. And then we have also, go ahead, Valerie, seen this framework, our anti-racist framework. And so really we've adopted this. This was developed out of the President's Task Force on Racial Equity and Social Justice. And so what we're acknowledging that these three things have to happen concurrently as a framework as we forge ahead with this dismantling and systemic racism. Healing. We know that there's a lot of historic pain and trauma and healing that needs to happen across our college community. And so we are embarking upon different ways in which we can bring people together to facilitate that healing. The raising of consciousness is really our own professional learning. there are so many things that we're learning and that we don't know. Even those of us who consider ourselves equity-minded, I'll place myself in that book. I'm looking at my shelf and I have so many other books that I need and want to read. But the bottom line is that there's so much more that we have to learn if we are really to do justice with regard to tackling institutional racism. So really raising consciousness and then identifying and then dismantling those racist policies and procedures, which are not allowing us to be that just institution that we seek to be. Go ahead, Valerie. And then I won't go over this list, but there's a lot of work that we're doing right now at our institution, which we will continue to do throughout the semester and beyond. And so you see some of those things here, and stay tuned because we will be bringing opportunities to the table for our college community to engage in robust dialogue about this work through what we're calling the critical conversations. I do want to mention that Tammy Marshall and Brianna Kuhn had mentioned to me that they went to an Umoja Learning Institute this summer, and there's an evolution even with the terminology that we're using, anti-racist college, but there's a term called illuminative pedagogy that they are going to be introducing to our college community. So stay tuned for that critical conversation early in the spring, and we will invite all of you to participate. Go ahead, Valerie. And then I didn't want to have this convocation be about data per se, but really the data is really reflective of our student experience. And so just wanted to touch briefly upon kind of the student impact that we see with regard to COVID-19 on student access, success, and retention. And so for Cuyamaca College, you'll see the difference between fall of 19 and fall of 20. We did decrease our FTES, our full-time equivalent students, by 7%. And I have to say, I'm actually proud of our college because most of the colleges in our region and up and down the state experienced double-digit reductions in their FTES. Our headcount, we basically had the same number of students last fall of 2019 pre-COVID as we did this fall of 2020. So that basically tells us that we had the same number of students, but some of them took fewer classes. Okay, so while that is just a quick number on the screen, I just want to thank our staff and our faculty, our administrative team, because it takes a village. And we had to go through a lot. I know the faculty, you had to hustle to transition offsite over 700 courses. Our entire student services team had to go fully online. We had to be sure that students could register, meet with counselors and all of that. And the fact that we were able to retain the same headcount from one fall to the next fall, even given COVID, speaks volumes about the work that we did as an institution. So thank you. Thank you. And so go ahead, Valerie, next. What I just want to say about student retention and student success, we did see a decrease. It's just a slight decline with our African-American and our Latinx population. And basically our Latinx and our African-American and our Native American student population continue to be disproportionately impacted with success and retention. And those gaps were exacerbated with COVID. Basically, that tells us that we have a lot of work to do. This anti-racism work is so critical as we forge ahead, even after we return to campus. So I just kind of wanted to kind of put that out there, and we're going to have more discussions about our data in the semester and years to come. Go ahead, Valerie. And then this has also been shared in different settings, and we're going to have an opportunity to dig in to this data, and we're going to have an opportunity in 2 minutes to hear from our students. But we did issue a few surveys to our students over the past year, and these are some of the concerns that our students shared with us. Some of the concerns they had, of course, they have concerns about their own health and their family members' health, about their ability to pay bills. This whole piece on financial stress and strain is so real for our students. Many of them lost work. And this whole piece on food insecurities, it is real, it is deep, and fortunately we have our beautiful Cuyamaca Cares, and we have our food drives and our food distributions. But these are the student concerns. Go ahead, Valerie. Just a couple more slides, and then we're going to pivot and talk to our students. And then students, we ask them, like, what do you need? How can we support you? And these are some of the things that they talked about: financial aid, health and well-being, counseling and emotional support, academic and career counseling, admissions and records support, meals, housing. And so you see, so this is what our students have told us through the surveys that they've shared. And I'm telling you, we have stepped up Cuyamaca. I could give thousands of examples and ways that we've supported them. Over 10,000 counseling appointments since we went remote, for example. And so there's beautiful ways in which we've supported students, but we're starting to see our students leave, because we're now seeing a decline in our enrollment in the double digits. So students are not accessing us. They're experiencing all of these issues, and they're asking us for support. So our work is not done. So while we've done beautiful work, there's still a lot more that we need to do as we forge ahead. Go ahead, Valerie. Go ahead, and we'll skip this one. I just wanted to kind of really point out this whole piece on mental health, and that was already talked about earlier. And we have a wonderful group of mental health or personal counselors at Cuyamaca College that are really supporting our students at this time. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them. And again, students don't always know how to access us. And so here is a little kind of potpourri of ways in which students ask for our support. All right. Go ahead, Valerie. If you can just go ahead and flip over to there we go. I'm gonna stop here. And so obviously this is our wonderful 22-year-old National Poet Laureate Amanda Gorman, who recited her inaugural poem, The Hill We Climb, when Biden was inaugurated. It was definitely inspiring, and she emphasized working together, noting, quote, "The victory won't lie in the blade, but in the bridges we've made." And she also emphasized what you see in the quote there, optimism. So, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. That's just deep. It just actually makes me emotional every time I read it. It's a simple phrase. For there's always light, if we're only brave enough to see it, if only enough to be it. So my call to you, Cuyamaca, will we be the light that our students need and deserve moving forward? And I think the answer is yes. And so let's roll up our sleeves and continue to work together. So without further ado, it is my pleasure, go ahead, Valerie, to welcome the student panelists who are in the room with us. And I am going to turn this over to our wonderful Christiane Pinanuri, our Director of College and Community Relations, and she is going to introduce the student panelists and get us going with this segment. And I think we're going to ask Christiane, I'll let you tell us what to do. I think we're going to have to turn our cameras off except for the interpreter and the students. So go ahead, Christiane.
Good morning, everybody. Can I ask everybody that's in the Zoom room with me to turn off your camera unless you're a student? This will help everybody who is on YouTube to focus on the students only. Good morning, students. I'm happy to see your faces. Thank you all very much for taking an hour or so out of your morning to spend some time with us. I know many of you are juggling work and kids, siblings, parents, so thank you very much. I want to start with some quick introductions, and I will not do it justice. So I would like each of you to share with our audience a little bit about yourself. So we've been over this, but as a reminder, can you tell us your name, your major or program of study, how long you've been here at Cuyamaca? I want to know who or what inspired you to go to college. And can you also share with us a little bit about what your school from home situation is like? We talked about this last week, and It's very eye-opening. So tell us all a little bit about what's happening for you at home. Shanae, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Shanae. I've been at Cuyamaca for, I want to say 5 years, probably more than that, but this is my last year. I'm graduating this semester coming with a behavioral science degree and a communications degree to transfer over to San Diego State to be an urban planner and developer. This stay-at-home orders and working from home when it comes to school has been really hard on me because I do have multiple hats I wear. So again, yeah, it's been really rough. For me, probably most of you who are viewing this can say it's been hard. So
thank you, Shanae. Katharina, can you go next?
Yes, hi everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Ekaterina Nadoyan, but everybody calls me Kate. I'm active actually in both colleges since 2019. I'm a PPA major, but majoring in public health. Being at home and having school, also I have a 2 years old, but thank God I have my mother-in-law watching her while I'm at school. But although is it really hard because classes are all online, there is no lab. I have to make sure she's okay to watch the kid, and I'm okay to be home and have everything ready because class are kind of long. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandy, I saw that. Can you share with us a little bit about your situation? It just happened for us live.
Yes, so greetings. My name is Brandy Rosas, and I am a Spanish major. I've been in Cuyamaca for 2 years. I'm planning to transfer to SDSU. What inspired me to go to college is the fact that I'm a first-generation college student, and I want to break the barriers that have been in place. I want to seek higher education in order to improve my career opportunities and gain economic prosperity and social mobility. I want to provide, most importantly, to my family and make them proud, because doing this will lead, for a better life for us. My level of online learning has been ever since the virus occurred. So for this has been very, for me, new and challenging.
Thank you, Brandy. Tim, how about you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Timmy Lazaro, and I'm currently a third year in Cuyamaca. I am majoring in English literature so that I could be either a technical writer or a librarian. Also, what inspired me to be a college student in Cuyamaca is my mother, because I'm pretty much the only one in my immediate family to be a college student and to be a college graduate. And I will be transferring to SDSU in the fall. And my experience studying during the pandemic was kind of rough because of the Wi-Fi situation at home, and because of my me being susceptible to like watching YouTube. So I instead go to the Cuyamaca parking lot to actually get my homework done. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Mariam, how about you?
Hi everyone, my name is Miriam. I'm a political science major. This is my first year at Cuyamaca, and I wanted to go to college, first to have a great education, secondly to invoke good change. And prior to the pandemic, I had zero experience with online learning or remote learning. So I went straight from high school to college, and it's all been remote.
Thank you. I want to jump into the questions. We talked a little bit last week about some of these, and I didn't actually pose the questions to you. We just sort of talked, so it's going to sound a little different for you guys. But let's start with, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in pursuing your educational goals this year? Shanae, when we talked last week, you had some very specific challenges. Would you mind sharing them with the group?
Yes, I don't mind sharing. So basically with me, I am a student and I am going to school full time. I'm a mother of three, I'm a wife, I work. So my challenges were the fact that my children being home and my husband needing extra time for himself, because you know husbands be going more crazy it seems when they have to worry about the kids. But it was just like everything is in my plate and it's like hard for me to grasp if me going to school is affecting me being the best parent I can be. Like I felt that it it was taking this stay-at-home orders basically, and me being in school at home, I had to implement more time for me to be focused on myself, that I was felt like I was just taking away from my children because they need help too with their school. So it's just everything was just on my plate and it still is. And I'm trying to juggle everything with making sure that I'm competent and I'm not failing in my classes because again, this is my last year or my last semester coming and I just don't understand how I'm doing it. By the grace of God, I am, but it it's really challenging, and I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all.
Shanae, can you tell us how you organize yourself to take care of the children, take care of your home, work? When does your schoolwork fit in?
Um, Honestly, if it's in like I feel like I have ADHD. Like I honestly do. I'm like over here, I'm bopping over here to cook food while I'm trying to read and at the same time as cooking dinner for the kids and multitasking is how I even get through the day. So I honestly feel like it's not a really a strict schedule because when I go to work, I'm like focused on work. Like right now, I'm at work. Um, I'm working an extra shift just to be here. Um, I mean, not extra shift, extra time, so I can make sure I can say my part and how everything is affecting me. But yeah, so it just fits in. It's no real, oh, okay, I got an hour here to study. It's like whenever I can get it, that's where I get it.
Hang in there, Shanae. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Brandy, can you tell us a little bit about what your big challenges have been attending school online this last semester, this last year, really?
So what has been affecting me the most is the fact that, I'm at home. I have much more distractions and I have my responsibilities as well. Like, even though I am young, I also come from a family where, we're together. And recently my mother has been having issues with her leg. She fell hard and she had to get surgery. So I'm the only one that can really take care of her. I also take care of my little siblings. I help around the house. So even though like I am the sister, like I also help my mom out. And it's sometimes hard to concentrate in my classes because sometimes my little brothers need help. Sometimes my mom need help. She can't do stuff herself because she is older, and I'm there to help. And sometimes it's just hard to concentrate, like when I have to be at school and then like when it's my family time, and it's hard sometimes to prioritize, like, what to do. So yeah, it puts me in a sticky situation. Mhm.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing with us, Brandy. All of you, I'd like you to take just a moment and reflect on your experience in this kind of new normal remote environment. Um, we shifted all of college operations and instruction remote in March. It was a challenging transition for everybody, employees, students. By fall, it felt like we were doing it with intention. And so I'd like to hear from you what aspects of your experience, either with student support and instruction, anything, what's been the most impactful for you? What has really helped you get through this time? Tim, I know what your answer is going to be, so let's start with you.
Are you talking to me, Miss Christiane?
Yes, I am, Tim. I already knew what your answer was going to be, so I wanted you to share it.
Oh, okay. The most impactful thing about my education during the pandemic was the Wi-Fi center. I am so grateful to have been going there every single day to actually get my homework done. And I'm also grateful that
Uh-oh, Tim. I hope that's not our parking lot Wi-Fi that's doing you wrong. I'm so sorry, Tim. Miriam, let's move on to you while we wait for Tim's Wi-Fi to come back up.
So for me, I didn't have like much of a college experience before this, of course. But for me, I'd say that we've been having a lot of important conversations that we never would have had before, or that would have been considered, too heavy to have. And just putting myself in a position where I'm going to listen and I'm going to participate in these conversations has been really impactful, because it makes me feel like I'm more connected, being so far away from everything and everyone. So I would say that was the most impactful thing for me.
Miriam, where are you having these conversations? Are they in the classroom? Are they in clubs? Tell us more.
So it goes from, clubs, different groups, sometimes classes, and it travels through my family, my friends. So I'd say that's the reason why it's so impactful, is because it's not just being offered at school. It makes me think of having it with more people who weren't in these groups, who weren't in these classes.
That's powerful stuff. That's the basis of education, right? You're having these conversations, and I'm happy to hear that. Katerina, can you share with us something that has really been helpful for you? What's helped you get through this time? Oh, you're on mute.
So I'm so sorry.
No, please, it happens.
Generally helped me if it's on campus or off campus, the special services like tutoring or like EOPS or like financial aid. If I need something, I message my counselor, hey, can you please meet? I have a difficulty doing this and this. Can you please go with me through that? Or if it's like emotionally or mentally I'm going through something, they're right there for me. Oh, here, I'm sending you the Zoom link. Just come in, let's talk. It doesn't matter when it is. If it's like 12 o'clock afternoon, like in afternoon or in the mornings, just like right away, they are there for me. And I really do appreciate that. And it means so much to me. Shout out to my counselor, Miss Pearl Lopez. She's just my rock. Like if I didn't have her during this time, I don't know what without her, like, I don't know, I'd be probably lost sometimes, because everything is kind of new for me, because I'm from Switzerland and coming here, and different education system, different rules, different teaching. Sometimes I need the time to get used to it, but she really helps me to go through this. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're doing things differently across the board. We have to. We don't have the choice. But we do have the choice to decide what we take with us into the other side, into the new normal. And I'd love to hear from you all what has been beneficial that we should take with us. What things should go with us when we're back on campus, when we're back in a world where we can physically be together. This is really important stuff. So let's see. Brandy, what do you think?
So since the coronavirus occurred, there's been much more understanding, that we're at home in place, and I would like for that to be maintained, once we get back to campus, because it's something that, like, we all have our own life, and we all have our own responsibilities. And I feel like if the teachers could understand this, that we're not just we're a student at the class, but we're also a human being, and we have, you know, stuff that goes on. So if they could, you know, keep being understanding of us and understanding our situation, that would help a lot if that could be maintained.
Thank you. Miriam, what is your suggestion for moving forward?
I feel like I said before, with important conversations, I think we should take that with us and not let it be just a theme for a pandemic, you know, just an at-home conversation. And I feel like we should also, like Brandy, realize that, you know, we have other lives, we have other obligations, we have so much priorities. And I feel like coming back, that won't be necessarily gone. It won't be because, oh, there was a pandemic, you might have been busy at home taking care of kids or just working. I feel like we should also acknowledge that when we're at school, like we're physically there, but emotionally, mentally, we might be somewhere else, and that's okay.
Ekaterina, what do you think?
I agree a lot of things what my other students just said. I personally, I like the science classes online a lot, actually more than on campus, to be honest. I totally understand that we need like dissect cats or like parts to learn, but having like teacher going through it, showing pictures, like explaining everything, this helps me a lot. It's actually, I feel like less pressure like that. And I got much better understanding things also. And I can take my time at home and take my time to read over it or watch YouTube videos and learn more and phrase that in my own words. Then, oh, okay, 8 o'clock, oh, I have my math class. I have to run to the lab and I can't be late. And then I have like 3 hours class lectures. And then I'm like, I get stressed out. And then I have to carry those big books with me and I have to have my laptop and my iPad and my notebooks. And then I don't get time to eat because I'm so busy. And after my classes, I usually go to tutoring. So after that, I may be there for 1 hour and then get just really busy and come home like 5, 6 o'clock. But with us being home, I appreciate that the teacher having pictures or videos explaining everything. And I feel the same, like I'm in class, even better.
Wow, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Em, what do you think?
I mostly agree with most of my classmates. I also would like to add that it would be helpful, like if the pandemic is over, is that we keep the Zoom, but for office hours. For our students who can't make it to the office hours, they can make up an appointment with their teachers. Like for example, if I need a help with my essay, and if I cannot meet with my teachers at their prospective time stamp, I can actually set up a Zoom appointment with them, and I could just like meet them at home on my computer. So yeah.
Thank you, Tim. That's great. Really thoughtful. I appreciate that. Shanae?
Wow, it's kind of hard to add in anything there because I feel like the other students had amazing answers to that question. Also, I think that what I can contribute to this is I would love to see the teachers look like regular people. Like they have problems, they're going through stuff too, and not seem like they don't have issues. I feel like right now, a few teachers I've had, or not even teachers, like some of the counselors, they're down to earth and they've been really open, like, you know, being able to understand or even just feel some type of empathy. Like the fact is, they care, like keep that caring mentality going, not just, oh, okay, like, you know, I'm not saying like everybody wants to hear everybody's problems, but just act like you care. Like that same mentality is like can go a long way. It can help somebody feel good, like, you know, okay, my teacher kind of understood what I was saying instead of looking at me like, you know. So yeah, that's what I can add on, just keeping the same energy of being human, being showing empathy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we've talked a lot about, what we want to take into the future. I think one of the things that Miriam kind of touched on is some of these challenging conversations that we're currently having. And I'd like to know from all of you how or what the college can do to help you feel like you belong. It's challenging in a virtual space, I know that. And so if there's something that's happening, and Miriam has had this experience, so I'm thankful for that. If there's something that can happen in the virtual space that helps you feel like you belong, or if there's work we need to do, I think this is a great place to put it on the table and have some of those challenging conversations. So I'd be interested in hearing what we can do more of, what we can do better, what we can do differently to help you feel like this is your space. This is a safe space. And as one of our lovely faculty members says, this is a brave space. How do we make this a space for having these challenging conversations? Miriam, I'm gonna put you in the spotlight right now because you've highlighted some of these. So I want to hear from you first.
So I feel like something that we can do right off the bat is just, just not have or not respect or just don't include any hate speech, as well as the hidden hate speech that we see, some things that you have to read in between the lines to like understand. I think I've seen that happen a lot. It can be just a sentence, something that someone ignores, or it could be just a stare, or it could be anything. But sometimes it's not right there in front of you. Sometimes you can't see it right in front of you. But if you know how to, respectfully call it out for what it is, and make sure that you treat the person like you want to educate them rather than show them hostility. I think that's important because some people might shut off completely and not want to learn and not want to understand why we're having conversations like this, because it in no way affects them at all, which is understandable. But at some point they're going to realize that this is happening and they're either going to be a part of it, or if they choose to not be a part of it, they can be respectful about it rather than just like completely go off.
Thank you. Shanae, we talked about this last week and you had some thoughts. Would you be comfortable sharing them here?
No, I wouldn't mind sharing them. Can you just repeat the question one more time?
So this was the question we talked about. How does the college help you feel like you belong here? How is this a space where you can be your authentic self, where you feel included, you feel safe? When we talked about this, you had talked about kind of the work that faculty can do to help by kind of helping other students to overcome these issues by helping students to work together.
Well, I know that with working together with the faculty, it can be very helpful with dealing with situations that may come up. But I feel that as staff, we can do things by, or not we, you guys can do things by asserting yourselves into certain things like checking in. I think that with me, my counselors, Alyssa and Camille, have done amazing with making sure I'm comfortable, everything, understanding something. I've had issues previously where I had to deal with an issue where somebody called me an inappropriate name, and I felt like the situation wasn't handled right, or wasn't really taken to make me feel comfortable. So I mentioned it to one of my counselors, and my counselor's like, no, this is not okay. And she took it up to the next person up, and they dealt with it the best way possible, to make me feel safe, or that my feelings matter, versus just sweeping it under the rug, which a lot of people normally do. So just really hearing and listening to students can make a big thing become very more like, how do you say it? I'm sorry. Gives a student like less weight off their shoulders. It's like,
yeah,
like a calming situation. Even if the situation is like really big and it's really bad, a counselor, teacher, or somebody can make it feel like, okay, I have somebody holding me down. Like, that's my ride. Somebody's riding this wave with me to make me feel comfortable again. So
thank you. I really appreciate you being brave to talk about that here. I know it wasn't easy, so thank you. Brandy, do you have anything that you could offer here?
They pointed from my colleagues, they said some really good points. I feel like what I would like to add, from the top of my head, is the fact that when there are situations that are occurring or transpiring here in America, I feel like, just as it has been said before, like, have conversations about being anti-racist, because a lot of things are being swept under the rug, and I feel like this is a time to like be anti-racist, to be vocally about it, and to not tolerate it, because it's just been so many years of just sweeping it under the rug and people just seeing it as a simple movement, and I feel like it's something that we should, as America, change. We need to push for that, and to have equality for everyone. I feel like that's very important.
Thank you, Brandy. Ekaterina, we talked about this last week and you had some great feedback. Would you mind sharing it here with the group?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I agree what my friends just said. I especially feel because, again, I'm not from here. So sometimes when I see people doing certain things, I'm like, oh, why are they doing that? Because I'm not used to it, because I'm used to something else, and sticking together at school and like just be there for each other. I had, like I said, I had have a lot of support from my counselor. Every time I needed her, she literally is there for me anytime. I especially feel it in science classes. Of course, I totally understand. It's no joke. It's not kindergarten. It's very competitive, and it's very hard to get in PA school or med school or nursing school, just anything what's related to medical field. I just feel sometimes when I go to school and like when I go to class, I literally don't want to go to class because I feel like that. I'm speaking for myself. I feel so uncomfortable because nobody wants to interact with you. It's so competitive. They see you as like, oh, you're my enemy, but it's not like that. It doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter what color you have. It doesn't matter where you're from. If you're rich, poor, middle class, it doesn't matter. For me, it's most important that you are a loyal friend to me. And if I need help, that you help me and be there for me. And the teachers as well. I had experience with a teacher. She's a very rough teacher. Very hard to like her tests and everything. I was literally scared to ask her questions because she gave me this look and I'm like, oh my God, like seriously, it makes me scary, like, I don't know, it makes me feel like that. Even when I was sending her emails, she's like, oh, well, go read the syllabus. And I'm like, okay, but your syllabus is almost 50 pages long. I think there should be a limit too, like syllabus up to 5 pages or 10 pages, something. We have already so much things going on. Or what I see in my personal experience, that people who speak the same language, who have the same color or anything, they always stick together. When I try to make like study groups, hey guys, would you like to meet, let's say on Wednesday, to study together, they never support you. There's no way. That they don't want you to do well. But I personally think it doesn't matter. I want everybody to do well, because end of the day, maybe when I become a PA, I might see you in the hospital and say, hey, hi, you are my colleague. Now we work together. But I think we should stick more together and work more together if it's a teacher or the students themselves. It will make a very, very, very big difference to be there for each other. It doesn't matter for, again, like I said, where you're from or what you're doing.
Is there something that we can do specifically? And certainly if you don't have an answer, that's fine. Is there something that you think we could do better or differently or more that would help that would help students to support each other, that would help to build more community?
I personally think it should come from both sides, the teacher and the students as well. I think the school should, I don't know, just do something or work to people to understand, hey, we are everybody, everybody is at the same school. Let's be like friends or like family to help each other and be there in good or bad times. I think especially with lab works and stuff like that, I think maybe the teachers should decide who works together or already have the lab tables ready with certain names. Oh, ABC is together, this and this is together, so we can interact and getting know each other. Because every time you go to science classes, every time you see the people sticking together, always the same people. Let's say every week you change, you rotate, you sit here and then you rotate. So, hey, what's your name? Nice to meet you. Let's help each other. Maybe I find a person who is very good in biology or math or something, and that'd be really helpful, I think. Or maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
No, thank you. There are no wrong answers here. So I think it's important to hear the student perspective. So don't tell yourself you're wrong.
Yeah, thank you.
It's valuable input. Thank you. Tim, what do you think? Last but certainly not least, I want to know what you think.
I would like to add in to what my peers had to say, because they took all the words out of my mouth mostly. And I also agree with Shanae with what is happening in our within our student circles about offensive language against one another. And this kind of applies to my major, being an English literature major. We've been reading books in my during my last semester about Flannery O'Connor. And there's a lot of language that is so explicit in it, especially describing Black Americans in a terrible light. And all I can say is that we should add in a disclaimer or a trigger warning before we get into reading certain types of literature, because it will give us more insight on how we should approach people of color these days. So yeah.
Thanks, Tim. That's really great input. Thank you. Thanks, you guys. We've done some tough work here, and I really appreciate all of you being honest and direct and brave. All of that was really heavy and might have been difficult to say. And so I really am so grateful to you for being able to put it out there. Thank you. Thank you. I want to change tacks a little bit. Let's talk about what we can do to help support you. Right now, short term, what do you need today? What will help you be successful right now? Brandy, let's start with you.
So one of my advice, because I've been struggling with this more because of the coronavirus, is the fact that the load of assignments that sometimes the teachers are giving, it stresses me out, especially because I'm at home, I'm not at the school. I have much more responsibilities here. I live in an apartment, and sometimes, there's noises, I can't concentrate sometimes. And the load of assignments just adds more to my plate. Sometimes the assignments, I feel like if they're necessary for our learning, then yes. But sometimes some of the assignments are just for the basic of just for points and stuff, and they focus more on the points rather than the students learning. And that's what I've been struggling with the most. So that would be my answer.
Thanks, Brandy. Ekaterina, what about you?
Yes, I have actually a few things. I don't know if I feel like that. Maybe it's just me, especially since the remote schooling started. I think the program called I don't know, Poctory, I think. I don't know if I say it right. It's like when you take a test, they literally monitor you. They monitor your eye movements and everything what you do. And if you, let's say, leave the camera, leave the computer to go to the bathroom or have a glass of water, that's it. It cuts you off and you get an F right away. I do not agree with that. Again, it's my opinion, but I totally understand the teachers too. There has to be a way to kind of watch us. But I think myself, if let's say my dream is to become a PA. If I betray the system or myself, it's going to be my responsibility. I'm going to have people's lives in my hands. Like, this is not a joke. Like, I'm going to be responsible for them. It's really stressful because sometimes certain tests are certain times, and my mother-in-law, she's watching the kid and she's 73 years old. And I have to first make sure she's okay to watch the kid, because I do really respect that, because she's an older woman and I cannot just call her, hey, here's the kid, go watch her. My little one, she's very, very active. So sometimes I have to tell my husband, hey, please don't come home. I have a test. Nobody can be home. I can't focus, because even if it's like hearing sounds or something, it's alarming as a signal, and the teacher gets the footage and the teacher has to go over it and look at it if you cheated or not. This gives me so much stress that I literally forget everything what I studied, and that's it. It gets blank. I can't function anymore, and I start like sweating. I'm like, oh my god! I like start crying, and I don't know what to do. And I'm very hard worker, and I study really hard. And I think there really, really has to be a solution for that, or completely take it off, or like nothing. It really doesn't work. I really hope for the new semester that nobody uses that. It was just, I don't really have words for it. How stressful it was for me. And or other people, like my friends, it hurts my heart if I have to hear them, hey, they just have one room with 5 people in there. What are they gonna do? Like, tell them like go out too, like I do. Some people, they don't have like 2 separate rooms or 3 rooms to be by themselves and study. And the school, I think, has to have a little bit more understanding with that, or have the tests like open for a whole day. Let's say the test is tomorrow on the 30th, let's say, have time from 8 to 12 p.m. to complete the test. Because again, some people have babysitters. Like my friend said, she has to watch her brother and sisters and her mom. I cannot even imagine. I respect her, and shout out to you that you do so much. I'm overwhelmed with a little kid and have so much help. That there should be a time there, or like, let's say from 8 to 12, you guys have time to complete the test. It doesn't matter when, it has to be done, and that's it. That'd be really helpful. And especially what's really helpful, again, like I said before, the previous question, with the science classes. I just love it because there's so many people in lab, and you're literally sitting like this, and you have to make sure you don't fear anybody's privacy, and let's say if you have histology slides, you have to wait till everybody kind of is done going through it, and then you have to look at it, and then if people have a question, you have to kind of move on fast because the teacher is moving fast. But now with the remote, the teachers, they put up the picture and they tell you what it is, and it's so much easier. It's insane. It's just amazing. It's just wow. I really hope that they will keep those classes remotely. Thank you.
Thank you. Good feedback. Miriam, could you go next?
So in terms of short term, I have some classes, and I'm sure that a lot of people can agree with this. I have some classes that don't require an actual Zoom time or meeting, and I know others have that as well. And those classes can be tough for me because, I've had 12 years experience of sitting in a classroom and learning. So those classes can be a bit tough because at times it feels like I have to teach myself the subject and I'm getting, minimal help with it. I'd say for me that's one of my biggest issues. Um, but in terms of fixing it, I can't obviously we can't force teachers to actually set a Zoom time, but just allowing themselves to include more help in their classes, just letting their students know that, yeah, we're not meeting online, we're not meeting on Zoom, but just any questions you might have, please feel free, because I know some teachers do that and they're extremely helpful, but I've had some that don't have that, and it feels like, there's no communication between us. Um, so I feel like that's a good, short term issue we can solve.
That's my love language, more communication. Thank you. Tim, how about you?
I actually agree with Miriam, especially with taking classes that are like online, but you can't like go face to face with your teacher on Zoom. This applies to their office hours. I just wish there's like an extension of like their time, like from 20 minutes to like 30 minutes or an hour, because sometimes, like, for example, in an English class, when it comes to like getting help for an essay, it takes about like an hour to actually get it done. But I wish there's a bit more communication between me and the teacher. I just wish that we could talk more about specifics on how to like what parts of the assignments that needs to be done, and what parts of like the mistakes that I've made that needs to be rectified. So overall, that's the thing that I just want, is to have more communication. So yeah.
I promise everybody I did not ask them to say more communication. Just be like, that's a caveat I have to say. Shanae, last but not least, I want to hear what you have to say. What can we do to help you? What can we do to help you be successful right now?
Honestly, because again, I'm graduating in May. I feel that our administrative team can actually be more available, because I don't know what I'm doing and I have to keep going to my counselors for things. And I feel like I'm not annoying them, but it's just like I should be able to talk to an administrative person that works in like the admin department or something of that nature. Because again, I'm working, and sometimes they ask for my grades here as well, because I am in the more student-led job situation here at the county. So I'll be waiting for a couple weeks. Like right now, I'm waiting for response. So like something in that department will be really nice. Again, with the teachers, yes, more communication can help, pertaining to like, I have a question, but I can't get that question answered till the last minute. Like in these online classes, it'll take a while to respond. So if I have a test on Friday, but I wrote you on Wednesday, I don't hear from you till Friday, which is when the test is due. And I don't know how I'm gonna really embed that new information in my head right before the test. So it's just those things. But again, teachers have lives too. So we have to make sure we understand that. But also, this is one thing that I feel like we should take into consideration. Writing an email can definitely get somebody confused. I'm just saying, maybe we should use voice emails or visual emails, like like voicemails, like, you know, to reference something. Because if I'm reading something that a teacher says, I don't know if they know it, but I have no clue what the heck they are responding to, because I don't think it pertains to the message or the question I'm asking. So, so it's like, you know, things get kind of twisted in written emails. So maybe voicemails or video messages left to each other would be amazing.
Great, love that. Can I ask you a follow-up question?
Oh,
Very
sure.
concerned about your statement that you've been waiting a couple of weeks to get an answer. Can we talk a little bit about that? It sounds like, is there a challenge connecting? Is there a challenge getting what you need? Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, like, well, I sent an email last year in like December or November, and I got the quickest response back from somebody that started with Yasina, I don't know her name, quickest response. And I'm like, dang, they're on it. But now I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm waiting. I didn't even get like a follow-up like message back, like we're not in the office. I didn't even get that. So it's just like, I don't know. Like I'm just sitting here in limbo, like, you know, and I have to tell my bosses, oh, well, you know, you'll get it when I get it. Like my information with my documents to prove that I'm a student this semester, you know, you'll just get it when I get it. So it can be challenging with that, because at least sending a following up email, we'll get back to you in a few days, like, you know, or we received it. We understand your thought process of what you're trying to ask for. Give us a few days. But no, nothing. Yeah.
Shanae,
and I know I sent it to the right email too, by the way, because I copied and pasted.
Okay, I'm going to connect you offline. Let's get you an answer.
Okay,
Let's
you.
get you what you need. That's one of the perks of being here today, was that you were all given my cell phone number. So please use it beyond today, whatever you need. I know it is very valuable to have a direct contact. We have just a couple of more minutes. Is there anything that I didn't ask, that I didn't touch on, that you all feel is so critical, that is shared with faculty and staff and administration at the college? Now's your time. We have 4 minutes.
Oh, I have something. To the teachers out there, counselors do amazing jobs with figuring out what classes to take and whatnot. It'll be nice if you guys communicated with counselors too. I don't know if y'all do, but sometimes things get misconstrued in finding classes and developing like relations with your teachers, and the counselors sometimes really want to know this information, like how is your class really going? Is it going to be or are you going to be really in tune with your children? I mean, not children, sorry, mother. In tune with your students. Like, I don't know, like I feel like just check in with counselors so they know, like, you know, this teacher is hard, be about your stuff. Oh, this teacher is more understanding. But I'm just saying, like, just give some type of feedback to the counselors, and the counselors speak to the teachers as well. I don't know. I feel like they need to work more together.
Shanae, I know the counselors are sharing the love right now. Thank you. Anyone else have any last minute departing words?
Yeah, I have something too. Actually, for the in test general, like sometimes I feel, because I'm not from here and English is my first language, they have really long tests, like up to like 10, 12 pages back and forth. And sometimes they bring stuff what's not, a lot of times, not sometimes, a lot of times, 8% they bring stuff what's not a study guide, or they don't have a study guide at all. I'm like, okay, it's a science class and you're telling me you don't have a study guide? Seriously? There's like over 50 pages of PowerPoints. Like, what should I study? What should I focus on? I still have about 20 pages to study bones or muscles or ligaments. It depends what we study. And I think there should be like a limit, or make the English like rephrase it or make it a little bit easier so everybody can understand, because there are people who are not from here again, and they do not understand English that well, or get sometimes lost like I do. And I hope they can do something about it.
Thank you. Brandy, I saw you had something to say.
Yes, it's regarding like textbook costs. Sometimes the textbook costs that teachers sometimes put are really expensive. And there was this like one occurrence where like I bought a book that costed like, it was a bit pricey, and I only used it like 3 times for that class. So I would just like recommend, like, please be mindful of the textbook that you guys are selecting for students. Not all of us have the same you know, income, and sometimes it's just hard to get these books. Sometimes I would have to screenshot out of my colleagues' books just so I could like receive the material, study from that material. It's just harder for some of us to access those books that are much more pricier.
Thank you, Brandy. That's really valuable. Thank you. Miriam or Tim, any parting words?
I think just creating more student leadership opportunities can be nice, because sometimes students want to communicate something and it's hard between faculty, staff, administration. It's difficult. So letting them be in a position where, I know people might be, too busy or too shy to ask for representation, but just letting them know that there's someone there that's just like them, that's willing to listen to them fully, and not have any communication barriers is good.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you. Tim? That seems like such a fitting way to end this thing, don't you think? Tim's Wi-Fi dropped out. It's kind of the way it is. Oh, there you are. Tim, we can hear you. Keep going.
Hi, Miss Ken. I'm sorry.
No,
The
please.
Wi-Fi. I just this might sound like a big and odd request, but I just wish that the computer lab in Cuyamaca would return, but as long as we're following the COVID guidelines and protocols.
Thank you. Good feedback. That is heard and noted. Students, I will be honest with you that my job does not require me to interact with you, with students very often. And it has been the pleasure of quarantine to work with you. So thank you all so very much from me personally, but on behalf of Cuyamaca College, thank you very much for your honesty and your bravery today. I really am very appreciative of you and your time. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Allow me to add my thanks to Brandy, Ekaterina, Miriam, Tim, and Shanae. Thank you so much for your honesty, for being frank, for, pointing out all the beautiful things that the college is doing to support you, but also, highlighting some areas where we can improve and better support you and the students. Say, hey, look, we are here for you. You have put your lives, your futures in our hands, and we take that seriously. And so everything that you've shared really kind of hits us in the heart, and we will take your recommendations and continue to discuss ways in which we can implement some of what you shared. And so at this time, what I would like to do is, Valerie, if you could go ahead and share the PowerPoint, the questions that we're going to have in the engagement activity. So at 11 o'clock, hopefully everyone has signed up for the engagement activity, the Zoom breakout at 11 o'clock. So we're going to have a little break between now and 11 o'clock. So you had to sign up for that Zoom breakout. This is for the Cuyamaca staff, faculty, and administrators, and other members of the college community who may want to participate, but you'd have to sign up for that breakout through the Vision Resource Center. If you have problems with the Vision Resource Center, you could write to Donna Hodge, or you could write to Christian, me, Bree, any of us can help you. And then what happens when you sign up through the Vision Resource Center, they will send you a Zoom link to that breakout. We have 7 members of our college community as part of our professional development committee. So we have several faculty members who will be serving as facilitators, actually faculty and staff serving as facilitators. So you will have these small breakouts, and we'll respond to what our students talked about today, and respond to some of these prompting questions that you see on the screen. And then we're going to take this information and we will share it with the college community and continue to flesh it out and determine what action steps we need to take to better support our students in light of these twin pandemics. So that, everyone, concludes our spring 2021 convocation. Again, I want to thank everyone for attending. I hope everyone has a wonderful spring 2021 semester. I particularly want to thank our students again for participating today. And I hope to see you all soon, either virtually and or in person this spring, and then certainly in person, hopefully, please, beyond that, once it's safe to do so. So thank you. See you guys soon. Take care.